Welcome. So today we're going to do some restorative yoga. And if you've never done restorative before, it requires a lot of stuff, but you can use stuff that you already have in your home. So you can use some blankets, pillows. If you have bolsters and blocks, awesome, but any kind of pillow will be helpful, particularly if you have like decorative throw pillows. These are really handy. Your bed pillows will be good. I have an extra thick, fluffy blanket here. If you don't have extra pillows, you could take a sleeping bag or a comforter and you can roll it up like a quilt, something that's thicker, and make your own bolster out of that. And then you'll also want a blanket to lay down on your mat to give you a little bit more cushion. If you have carpeting in your house, you probably won't need that. So I'm going to take this blanket first, and we'll just go through the setup together, and then we'll get into more detail. So I'm going to take this blanket and fold it so it's really long to make a cushion for my mat. You could lay on any blanket that's comfortable, as long as it doesn't have a lot of texture or like bumps to it, because you'll probably start to notice some of those things. And we won't do a lot of moving. So if at this point, after you get your blanket set up, you want to do a little bit of a warm up, that would be fine. So I can lead us in some cat-cows if that feels good. So we'll make our way to tabletop position. Hip is over the knee, shoulders over the wrist. And if this hurts your wrist, you can turn them out to the sides. And then when you're ready, on your inhale, drop your belly, look up, tail comes up, head comes up. Exhale, press the floor away, round the spine. Inhale, dropping the belly, looking up. Exhale, press the floor away. Drop the navel to the spine. Maybe do a couple more of these, maybe make some circles. If these don't feel good, you can lean back into some extended puppy pose. Maybe a little bit of cobra might feel good. Maybe a couple of sun salutations if you really want to, but we're gonna really slow down today. So warming yourself up, maybe a little bit of stretching in your seat, and just getting yourself ready to kind of mellow out. This is more of a stillness practice. So if you're somewhere that gets cold, I suggest putting on an extra layer, maybe some sweatpants, or have a sweatshirt handy to get comfortable. Extra blankets are always a plus. So I have some blocks here. If you have blocks, great. If you don't have blocks, you can stack up pillows to have the same effect. So I'm going to grab all the blocks I can. So I have 4 here. You can always use books. You can use anything really that you have around. So I'm going to set up my blocks so that I can make a ramp. I can add an angle. So the first block is going to go towards the back of the mat, and then I'm going to put the second block. So we have the tallest setting, medium setting, and the lowest. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take whatever's going to be my bolster. So if you have your blanket rolled up, you can take your blanket kind of in a burrito and lean it up against the blocks. I'm going to use this bolster just so you can see everything really clearly, what it looks like. And you might have to kind of separate the blocks a little bit if you have a thicker bolster. Just find yourself a little diagonal ramp. I'm going to move this whole thing back a little bit. Okay. So make sure it's balanced. And then you could sit on top of another blanket or a pillow here if you want to. I'm going to sit on the floor and just have everything close by so you can get yourself comfortable when you need to. I'm going to keep my blanket close by. And then we're going to move to our first position. And our first position is really a transitional position. So it's going to move us from being vertical towards horizontal. So when you have your ramp ready, so again, you can use anything, pillows, blankets, stack it up nice and high. If you're really tall, You might want more stuff. I am short. So you're going to get yourself close to this, the base of your bolster, or what would be your bolster, and kind of press it down so that there's less of an angle. Bring your back to it. Take an inhale, lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, gently lay back. So this is our first pose. And for every pose with restorative, I'm going to give you as many options as possible to get comfortable. And if they don't work for you, you can always do something different or find something that's more comfortable. And don't worry, I'll guide you through the whole thing. So the key here is to have your spine nice and long. So you can bring your arms down by your sides, and you can lengthen the back of your neck by gently lifting the back of your head so that your chin moves more towards your chest. And this already might feel like a really big heart opener. Arms can be down on the floor. If the floor feels far away, you can take something like your pillows and bring your arms to your, to your pillow, or blocks, or rolled up blankets, or rolled up sheets, whatever you have. So we'll get started here. Knees can stay bent. You can bring your feet to the edges of the mat, let your knees fall together so they can rest. Or you can have your legs out long if that feels good. Or even maybe the soles of the feet come together for like a bound angle. So the practice of restorative is really the quiet side of our practice. It's the yin, the moon side. So we're moving ourselves from our regular state, our fight or flight energy, the sympathetic nervous system, toward our rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're aiming here to be as comfortable as possible, maybe even comfortable enough to go to sleep, but we're gonna try not to fall asleep. If you fall asleep, that's fine, you need sleep. So for this pose, your job is really to do as little as possible. So if you're uncomfortable, try to adjust yourself so that you can be as comfortable as you can. And if anything hurts, especially the low back in any of these poses, go ahead and back out. You can always come to lie on your back. You can always come to your seat, or you can come to child's pose, whatever feels good. So here we are in our supported seat here. Just dropping into the breath, just like you would at the beginning of class. Letting go of your day so far. Letting go of getting here. Maybe you notice the breath. Where does it feel the most prominent? Do you feel it more in your nose or your throat? Maybe the chest or the belly? And here, see if you can notice the breath, filling up the belly with air as you inhale. And as you exhale, letting the belly fall like a balloon. One of the things I'll try to remind you of throughout the practice is to see if you're holding anywhere. So notice if you're furrowing your brow, if you're clenching your jaw. Maybe you're making a fist, or you're holding your stomach muscles. Are your shoulders really close to your ears? See if you can soften wherever you notice the holding. Are your legs straining to hold you up? See what you can let go of. And then go ahead and exhale everything out of the body. Take a deep inhale, fill up. And then open your mouth, let it go. One more time. Fill up something you're holding on to. Open your mouth, let it go. We're going to spend several minutes here and several minutes in each pose. So try to get yourself really comfortable. If this hurts your back with your legs out long, you can keep them bent, or you can even grab another blanket and roll it up and put it underneath your knees. So really we're going for like optimum comfort, deluxe comfort the whole time during restorative yoga. You also might notice that the mind really wants to wander here, that we are so used to moving and doing and going that when we are still on purpose, it can be challenging. So if this is challenging for you, that's okay. I encourage you to offer yourself a little bit of extra patience, a little bit of extra compassion, a little bit of extra forgiveness. The same patience, compassion, and forgiveness that you so readily give to everyone else, offer that to yourself now. Allow yourself to just be. And there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just taking this rest. We'll be here for a couple more minutes. And again, notice if you're holding. Are you tensing some muscles that you can relax? Do you need to change your leg position so that you can really let go? Are your arms straining to reach the floor? You can always just fold them in your lap. See if you can just allow the softness in the breath. Riding the inhales and the exhales like a wave. Inhale, sweeping back to make the wave. And as you exhale, that rolling wave coming crashing on to the shore gently. And then as you inhale, taking it back in. Exhale, rolling, softly sweeping. Notice where the mind wants to go. Does it want to take you on a ride? Is the brain offering you a ticket for the brain train? Can you decline the offer and come back? Back to the inhales, back to the exhales, over and over again. So in restorative, the way that you get out of a pose is more important almost than the way you get into the pose. So in order to minimize the chance of injury or straining anything, I'm going to give you really explicit instructions on how to get in and out of each pose. Resist the temptation to jump ahead if you can. So first, exhale everything out of your body. Take a deep inhale, fill up. Open your mouth, let it go. One more time, fill up something you're holding on to. Open your mouth, let that shit go. Maybe wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then bend the knees, so you're bringing your feet to the mat. Everything else is staying exactly where it is. And you're going to gently roll off of your props onto one arm. I'm choosing my right arm. You choose whatever's good. From here, maybe take a moment. Maybe you come all the way to the floor for a second on your side. Just coming back into the space. And then just as if you were getting up from Savasana, lengthen the top leg, gently press the arms into the floor as you slowly, however fast you're thinking of moving, move half that speed. Making your way to your seat. And then maybe notice, maybe take a twist here and there. But stay sleepy, stay with the eyes soft, almost closed. And we're gonna come into a gentle twist here. So this one, if this hurts the back, please don't do it. You can come into a lying down twist or a seated twist, whatever's your preference. But being really gentle here, you're gonna bring your right hip up to the edge of the bolster, touching the bolster. And your legs can be staggered. So they can be just like mine, or you can have one foot on the back of the knee. If you feel like this top leg is just moving too much, you can grab a pillow and bring it between your shins to give you a little bit of something, just so that they're not working. We don't want to be working right now. It's the opposite of that. So go ahead and press down on this bolster. Right hip is right up against it. It's touching it. Take an inhale, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, you're going to gently bring your torso onto this slope that you've created with whatever you've created. So I noticed that my right arm is really far away. And right now I'm the opposite of you because I'm doing it with you. So you're going to see it. Just we're doing the right side. So I'm going to bring my arm to that pillow or to that extra block I have behind me so that it's not really far away from the floor. If your sternum touches the bolster, that's great. If you're more kind of on your side, that's fine too. And if you want to, you can keep your head facing to your left, or you can turn it all the way around to look over to your right. You pick what's best for your neck right now. You can also put your forehead on the bolster, but that might not be so comfortable for your breathing. And this whole time, if you get cold, you can put a blanket on top of you. But you know, if you're gonna move or do anything, do it as lazily as possible. Another thing you can do is bring your hands to the back, that very back block or whatever is holding up the back of your bolster. You can hold on to there if that feels good, or just have your hands soft on the floor. I have my right arm on top of my block just to give me a little bit of a boost because I'm really short. But if your arm comfortably reaches the floor because of the angle of your bolster, that's fine too. See if you can close your eyes if that feels good, or have a soft downward gaze. So this won't necessarily feel like a lot of the twists that we're used to. It won't be as edgy or as intense, and you might notice this about a lot of the restorative poses. And I encourage you to allow it to be easy and resist the temptation to make it hard or make it hurt or make it feel like a real big twist or a stretch. Because we're staying in these poses for a little bit longer. We're allowing the body to be held into the pose. In vinyasa, in a flow practice, we're holding ourselves in the pose. And in restorative, we're allowing ourselves to be held by the props. So this is a prop-heavy practice. If you're someone who resists props in a regular class, this is the class to use. Every single thing you've got laying around to help you feel comfortable. Imagine that with every inhale, your spine gets longer and you get a little taller. And imagine with every exhale that you allow yourself to gently melt into the twist. And again, noticing if you're holding. See if you can unfurrow your brow. Can you soften your jaw? Soften the palms and the soles of the feet. The back of the neck. Can you let the shoulders be heavy and melt? And you'll notice the breath changes in this twist. Might feel a little stifled or restricted. See if you can breathe into the sides of your body. Breathe up into the chest. Breathe down into the belly. In restorative, we're aiming to allow the body to rest enough so that it's moving into that parasympathetic nervous system. And when the body can rest enough to do that, the body turns on its natural self-healing abilities. Our bodies are amazing. They have such powerful capabilities to heal us and to put themselves back together. And when we rest enough to do that, they can do their job. It's so often we're caught in the cycle of moving and producing and going and traveling that we never really come down into our parasympathetic nervous systems. Sometimes we're even activated in our sleep. So this practice is one of intentional rest, letting the body reset. So like I said, coming out of the pose is as important or more important than getting into the pose. So to get out of this pose, first just bring your hands to the floor, but don't do anything. Just press your hands and feel your hands on the floor. Feel the contact with the floor, and then draw your hands close down to your body. Take an inhale. Exhale, gently press through the hands and let your head be heavy as you slowly walk the hands up to your seat. Maybe you take a little bit of a counter twist here. Really slow, eyes are heavy. And then we're gonna move to the other side. So you will just turn yourself around, but so that you can see me, I'm gonna move my whole setup to the other side of my mat. You stay right where you are. So you're gonna gently either turn yourself around, forward or backwards, whichever way gets you there easier, so that your left hip is now on the bolster, or not on it, but touching it, right up against it. So I'm gonna, again, legs can be staggered, they can be on top of each other, they can be in like a zigzag fashion. I'm gonna bring that pillow between my knees because that's really helpful for me and my back. Again, you can gently, I'm gonna bring my little pillow for my arm, my block, whatever you had on the other side, bring it with you to this side. I've got my blanket. And then again, to come into this pose safely and comfortably, left hip is on the bolster, press down on the base, take an inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, gently make your way onto the bolster. And you might have to do a little bit of adjusting That's okay. And this side might feel different, so you might need something else. That's fine too. It doesn't have to be identical to the first side. So I have my back arm on my bolster, which is my left arm. My hand just kind of hanging off the edge. And I have this arm on here because right now I need a little support on this side. You can close your eyes again if that feels good. Or just look down softly, letting the arms be heavy. Not holding yourself up, letting yourself be held. Allowing yourself to breathe. Again, with every inhale, imagining the spine getting longer and taller. And with every exhale, melting into the bolsters. Again, if this hurts the low back, come out of it. Also, another way to help is to stack your diagonal piece, your bolster or your rolled up blanket up a little bit higher so that you don't have to lay down as far if that doesn't feel good. Again, we'll be here for a couple of minutes. So coming back to the breath over and over again. So as much as the mind wants to take you somewhere, see if you can come back to the breath. When you're inhaling, know you're inhaling, do it on purpose. And when you're exhaling, know you're exhaling, do it on purpose. Maybe you can hear your heart beat. Maybe there's other sounds in your home or outside of your home. See if you can let the sounds wash over you. And see if you can just keep coming back again and again. And the invitation is open for you to keep returning to the breath. Even if you get distracted, even if you get caught up in thought, coming back again and again to the inhales, to the exhales. And if this pose is challenging for you, that's okay. It took me a while to find my most comfortable version. And the way you can find that is by adding more pillows or blankets or blocks or subtracting pillows and blankets and blocks till you find the optimum comfort. Taking agency over your comfort. So if something doesn't feel good, don't do it. Find a version of the pose that is custom to you and what you need in your body right now. And it's really helpful to have all of your props within arm's reach so that you don't have to come out of the pose if you need something. Knowing that this is a practice, not a perfect. So if it doesn't feel amazing this time around, that's fine. Try it again. Maybe on your own, maybe with a recording. Just come back and see if it's better the next time. Slowly bring your hands to the floor again. So we're not even getting up, we're just bringing the hands to the floor. I'm kind of noticing the hands on the floor, maybe pushing them just a little bit, but not moving the rest of the body. Maybe wiggling the fingers. And then bringing the hands closer to the body, gently pressing into the floor and really letting the head be heavy here. Slow motion. Making your way to your seat, maybe taking a counter twist again here. Being so gentle. We're going to move into a lying down pose. So I'm going to move my blocks, but I'm going to keep everything really close by. So I'm going to kind of toss them behind me. And for this one, I'm going to use the bolster. I might switch. So I'm going to take this pillow. It's going to be my pillow for my head. And I'm going to bring the bolster I'm going to face the top and bring the bolster to the right side. So we're going to lay on our bellies. And you can start on your side, gently making your way to your side. And from your side, you're going to bring your right shin to your rolled up blanket or your bolster or a pillow. Pillow works fine for this too. If this is too much, like mine's really thick, if it's too much, I'll probably downgrade to a rolled up blanket or to a pillow. So I'm going to gently make my way towards my belly. This wants to slide out from under me, so I'm going to scoot it over. So you can have your arm underneath your pillow if that's comfortable. But for me and my shoulders, I like to just scoop my arm down behind me and then bring my head onto the pillow. So try to make sure that your shin is really parallel with the bolster. And in restorative, it's generally a great idea to have your props either parallel with the limbs or perpendicular, like at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to keep it parallel. I'm going to gently lengthen that bottom leg. And then I might stay more on my side if this feels good, because this is quite a hip opener. If I want a little more, I'm going to roll more onto my belly so that my belly button is facing the floor. And you get to decide what to do. It's totally up to you. Find what feels good. And if this hurts the low back, bring your knee higher up. So make sure that that's coming out of your body at a 90-degree angle. So this shin is parallel with the mat. The bolster is parallel with the mat. And my back arm is down behind me. This hand can stay up. And I've got my blanket. You'll notice that the more you relax, the more your body temperature kind of comes down. And that's all part of the process. So if you get a little chilly, that's okay. Well, you can do whatever feels good with this front arm. It can be next to you. You can cram it down underneath your bolster or maybe hug the bolster like a teddy bear. Breathing. Closing your eyes if that feels good. And again, if you want more stretch, you can face your belly more towards the floor. If you want less, roll a little more almost onto your side. And really let the floor and let the props hold you up. This is a supported half frog pose. And it might feel nothing like your usual frog pose, and that's kind of the point. We're facilitating a little bit of release in the muscle tissue, just a little at a time, super gentle. When we do that, we're facilitating the release deep in our tissue, in the fascia, in the fascial layer. So it's the encasing of your muscles and your organs. And it's said that the final resting place for all of the emotions you don't deal with is in the fascia. It's in that silver webbing, that net. And so as we help facilitate this physical release of the fascia a little bit at a time, you might also notice an emotional or mental release as well. And that's part of the process. So if stuff is coming up for you, you're totally normal. It's totally fine. But see if you can keep coming back to the breath. Come back to the inhales. Come back to the exhales. See if you can allow for this space to be created inside of you. And think about what you can make room for in your life as you choose to slow down. Take a deep exhale, let everything out. One big full body inhale. Open your mouth, let it go. One more time. Fill up, let it go. Slowly remove your leg from your prop and then lengthen both legs. Maybe reach both arms up, come onto your belly. And just hang out here for a breath or two. And we're gonna slowly make our way onto the other side. So I'm gonna move all the stuff from behind me because I got all my props there. And the laziest way I can think of to do this without using a lot of muscles is taking my bolster and rolling that sucker over my back. And then gently coming onto my right side, and I'll try to talk loud so you can hear it when my face is away from you. And you're gonna bring that left shin up. So I'm gonna rotate myself. You stay where you are. So left shin is coming parallel to the mat. Got your blanket handy. And then gently come onto that right side. Bring your shin onto the bolster, grab your pillow. And again, so my trick for this is you can lay on your arm like you would in bed if that feels good. If your shoulders are tight like mine, you can just take this arm, swoop it down behind you, bend your elbow a little bit to give your shoulder a break. So shin is nice and parallel. It's not wonky off to the side or tucked really far in. It's fully supported from top to bottom if your prop is long enough for your leg. And then again, if you want a little bit more, you can roll more onto your belly so that your belly button is pointing towards the floor. If you want a little less intensity, come more onto that right side. Really up to you. Again, this arm can be folded next to you. You can put it down underneath you, whatever feels good, maybe up on the bolster if you have a long enough prop here. And you've got your pillow at a little bit of an angle so that your face has some support. Cover yourself if you're cold, and then drop in. Again, if this hurts the low back or feels pinchy in the back, you can bring the knee higher up towards the top of the prop or move the whole prop. Seeing if you can allow, again, the softness. Allow, again, this support. Sometimes, for some of us, we are so used to being the ones that do all of the supporting and all of the holding that it can feel hard to let ourselves be held, to let ourselves be supported. So if that's you, if that sounds like something you do or feel, just treat this as an experiment. What else can I make room for in my life if I allow myself to be held? What capacity can I build? What resilience can I build if I allow myself to be held? You don't have to have an answer for that question. It's not necessary. Keep coming back to the inhales, back to the exhales. Softening the brow, releasing the jaw. You're making a fist, see if you can let it go. See if you can decide what doesn't need to be working in the body. Go ahead and exhale everything out. Take a deep inhale, fill up. Open your mouth, let it go. One more time. Fill up. Let it go. Gently remove your leg off of the prop and come onto your belly. Maybe your arms are down by your sides. Maybe they're up above your head. And just see what it feels like. Maybe shift around a little bit. Notice what the left side feels like, what the right side feels like. And you can totally stay on your belly for Savasana. That is an option. If you would like a traditional Savasana, you can gently roll over onto your back. I highly suggest taking your, whatever you are using as your tube shape, your bolster, and bringing that underneath your knees, like so, covering yourself up. If you want the full deluxe version, you're gonna ever so slowly come to your seat, just like you would out of Savasana, so that you can set yourself up. And the way to do that is you're gonna take pillows, or if you have blocks, I'm gonna take 3 blocks, stack them up tall ways. So you could actually just stack a couple of blankets up with some pillows really high. And then I'm gonna bring my bolster on top. Nice and sturdy. I'm gonna grab my blanket, bring myself close to the bolster to get my legs up here. I'm gonna scooch my body close to the bolster like this, and I'm gonna swing my legs up. So I'm gonna take my blanket with me so I don't have to adjust it afterwards. This is like Monica's lazy tips on how to be as lazy as possible. So I'm gonna gently make my way onto my side and lift my legs up over the bolster. It might fall down. That is a thing that can happen. No shame in the game. And we're gonna try to scoot ourselves. Oh, see, it fell. Oh no. I'm gonna just do the low version for now. So all right, I'm gonna bring my knees close and I'm gonna scoot myself so that my knees are kind of right above my hip. So however high up you have this, just have the highest point of the bolster under the highest point of your knees. That's another restorative tip. And then with your arms, you can take some pillows or like rolled up something, blanket, and just have your hands kind of on top of the pillow with your elbow on the floor. When you bring your wrist higher than your elbow, it signals to your body that it's time to rest. It's time to relax. So those are some ways you can tell the body that it's time to get sleepy. You can have a pillow if you want, or you can just have the back of the neck really long. Again, I like to take my hands, lift the back of my head, drag my fingertips up towards my crown so that my chin drops just a little bit towards my heart. And here in your Savasana, whichever version you have chosen for yourself, allow yourself to soften. Let the bones grow heavy. Let the breath return to its natural rhythm. Allow your awareness to drop back in space. Taking this time to rest. Even after a restful practice, Savasana is still the most important pose, still sometimes the hardest pose. And if you're getting caught in thought or planning or remembering, maybe you count the inhales and the exhales, maybe breathing in for a count of 5 or 7 or 10, and out for 5 or 7 or 10. Maybe you repeat a mantra with every inhale, saying in your mind, so. With every exhale, hum. It means I am that. I am the infinite. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Taking rest. And knowing that in a society that pushes us to be constantly productive, to be constantly working. But taking rest is in and of itself a radical and revolutionary act. It is an act of resistance to rest. Slowly start to bring the breath back into your body. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Start to deepen your inhales and your exhales. Maybe you reach your arms up over your head for a long line stretch. Take a deep inhale, fill up. Open your mouth, let it go. One more time. Fill up anything you're holding on to. Open your mouth, let it go. So even slower than you normally would, bring one knee into your chest, give it a squeeze. And the other knee into your chest, give it a squeeze. Letting your props fall or pushing them out of the way, slowly rolling onto one side. Make a pillow with your arm. And allow your awareness to gently come back into the space. Taking this moment before you return to your day that's just yours. And then as lazily as possible, with as little effort as possible, lengthen your top leg, let it drag you. So pushing that leg away, pressing this top hand into the mat, and ever so gently, ever so slowly, making your way to your seat. And as you make your way to your seat, just notice what feels different, what feels the same, what's the tone and texture of the mind, the quality of the breath. And then all together, on your inhale, reaching the arms far and wide and tall. And on your exhale, bringing your hands to your heart. Bringing your attention to the space around your heart, all the way around, front, back, top, bottom, side to side, and see if you can soften there. Bringing your hands to your forehead as a reminder of compassionate thought. To your lips as a reminder of compassionate speech. And to your heart as a reminder of compassionate intention. Bowing forward, acknowledging all of the teachers in our lives, seen and unseen, but especially the most important teacher, the inner teacher. It's always there to access. All we have to do is drop in. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your practice with me. I hope you feel good, and I will see you next week.